Hi everybody, welcome to the vaal. We're at that's a vaal Classic Track meeting, and we start with the 1450 race one. A reminder about our social media. If you don't might want to grab my coffee just to get something close, and we need our coffee later, almost up. The social media at Weighted to Win on Twitter, YouTube, we're also up and running, and also a reminder that we're on a WhatsApp group as well now. There's the number for you just to dot down, send your name and email address to the group, and send us your suggestions and all that sort of stuff, and we'd love to hear from you. Well, Stewie Pettigrew has been in good form, and they're top of the boards to win the Open. Now, this horse that is priced up favourite is Batula, that Diego de Gavea is riding at 22 to 10. I chatted with Diego over the couple of weekends ago, and you can see the guy's full of energy, and he really wants to make the best of success of it, as do all riders, I'm sure. And I'm glad to see he's got a spring in his step. Mr. Burrows, first race, what do you recommend we do?
I like this horse Batula. Now, was a bit outpaced early, green, and ran on very eye-catchingly the final 200. Now, on that run to Soldier's Eye, she had Spring in Heaven half a length in front of her. Now, Spring in Heaven was having her third start, and she's got a 10 draw to contend with. So I think Batula's got more improvement to come and will rate the horse to beat over Spring in Heaven. And watch the market with regards to Katera, the first-timer with Pierce Stratum for Sean Terry.
Yeah, that is interesting that Pierce booked, that Sean's booked Pierce Stratum for a first-timer.
Yes. A few months ago or years ago, Striker doesn't take rides from first-timers. Remember that?
Yes.
People were going around saying that.
Correct.
Yeah, he's on a first-timer for Sean Terry. She's a half-sister to Billy Spellbound.
Mm-hmm.
Her dam won 6 races. Watch the markets, Clyde. Striker.
And you can listen to Sean Terry. Just by the way, Sean Terry is very open and very committed when Andrew Bond goes and visits him. They do those interviews, and we unfortunately haven't got access to it because we're doing this on Wednesday.
Well, there's a comment.
Morning. Is there a comment?
Yeah,
okay.
hoping for a good run.
Oh, that's good enough for me.
Yes, that's very positive.
Coming from Sean, that's good enough
Clyde,
for me.
we saw that form line. Miss Shivey ran from there. She ran a moderate third, but she did put up an encouraging debut. The horse of yet. Dakota Cats, she went very quick last time out with the blinkers. I think with a bit more restraint, she could be a major player, because we saw Platina Princess win from there, Clyde. So 2, 4, and 6. I don't know. Watch them move down to the starts.
You would have a comment. Did you have a comment for the other one of Sean's, just as a matter of interest, or not?
No, there was, but it wasn't as upbeat.
Not as upbeat. That's for your Siandos, right? Okay, let's put selections. Here we go. We got from the guys. I don't know. It's quite an interesting race here, because who knows about this first time? It may well be the right horse, who's currently at 5 to 1 on Wednesday. Darren Burrows has gone 2, 6, 12 in the bipod, so he's gone quite a few. Then he's going 2 and 8 in the second leg. He's bankering the one in the third leg of the bipod, War Empress. He's happy to go with Ash the Fortune stable. I think they're 7 to 10, that horse. Then 1 and 3, then 1 and 3, and then 1, 4, 7, 8, 10, and 11. Mr. Marie has gone 2, 4, and 6, by 2, 3, and 8, by 1 and 2, by 1, 3, 5, by 2 and 5, by 1 and 8, hoping to double up in most cases. No bankers in his bipot on Thursday. No truer saying than no place like home. That's the favourite to win the second race on the card for Michael de Kock, who bounced back to form on Tuesday, when he was at Turfentine, and got this horse top of the boards at 22 to 10 as the one to beat. Darren Burrows, good enough?
I actually like this horse Bomb Bomb. Now, on debut, over 1,000 meters, outpaced in the beginning and absolutely took off. She was beaten a length and 3/4. Another 4 or 5 strides, she gets up just about to win. So I was really impressed with Bomb Bomb, and the trip's going to suit her down to the ground. Danger will be no place like home. A lovely pedigree out of that mare, Moggy Two Shoes, and not disgraced on debut. We've seen a winner from there. So 2 to beat 8.
Okay, so you're going the other way. I'm interested about No Place Like Home, because I've told you before, I think, Mr. Marie, that Fire and Flames is, for me, a very decent horse. And I see 1 runner, 1 winner from that particular form.
Queen of Camelot.
Yes.
Yeah, Queen of Camelot finished 3 lengths ahead of him, Clyde. But I watched his debut. He stayed on. He didn't exactly quicken. So that's my only concern. But that form line is quite strong. He's extremely well bred. I mean, he's a half brother to Shoemaker, full brother to Zapatilis, plenty scope for improvement. Number 3 over here, Brotherhood of Magic. Now, he may not have the most ability in this race, but he's got a lot in his favour, Clyde. He's got the bend experience, he's got the pace, he's got the draw. So he's going to be given every opportunity. And then Bomb Bomb, I've got my doubts over that form line. The winner was the only one with a bit of experience. They were congested at the finish, but he's got plenty scope for improvements. He goes the extra, gets the draw. He could be something different now that he's stepped up in trip. So, young juveniles, I just don't know what to make of them.
No, so top 3? I mean,
2, 3, and 8. Not
in that order.
Not in
Not
any
in that
particular order.
Not in any order. 2, 3, 8. Okay. Interesting, because I don't know what sort of distance No Place Like Home is looking for. That's the thing. It was over the 12. Now it's the 14. I think the 14 will suit her much better, and perhaps won't be as one pace. But it's open by the sounds of things from the gentlemen. They're not necessarily in agreement that the favourite's the right one. So here we go. We'll start up with this being the PA. Darren's going 2 and 8 in his PA, and then he's got quite a few bankers, which is nice to see. Later on, he wants to bank a War Empress number 1. He's then bankering the 3 Mover and Shaker. He's then bankering number 1 Vitalis. Then he's bankering the 7 on the card, which is Conquer the World. Then he's bankering the 2 later on, what's called Stratospheric, and at the back he's going just 4 and 7, and he wants to spend 40 rand. I think it's a 4 rand perm. He's taking it 10 times himself. Daryl Marie's got one worked out for us. Has he got bankers? He's got quite a few, as you can see, leg by leg, and as they go, no particular bankers for him. And in his case, obviously hoping to double up along the way. It's a 192 rand place accumulator. Third race over 1,000 metres up the classic straight. There's a 7 to 10 shot here, 13 to 20, I think, are the official odds on Wednesday from World Sports Betting. And number 1, War Empress, tops the boards at 13 to 20. 4 to 1, the second choice, and that's a first timer who happens to be from the Fabian Habib stable, who's trading at 4 to 1, Wait for Green Light. And then as for the others in the race, they're all double figures. So there's not much consideration from a market perspective given to anything else in the race. Mr. Burrows, banker?
Clyde, I didn't want to banker, but I did end up bankering because of the strength of the field. It's not strong. War Empress coughing in all 3 of her starts. She could be a bleeder, I'm not sure, but she can get away with it over the 1,000 meters. She's drawn deep, but I'm hoping that she overcomes the draw into a handy position and that she goes on to win the race. I wouldn't rush out to take 6 or 7 to 10. But I'm hoping that she's good enough for the pick 6.
Okay, well, let's it may not be a strong field, those that have run, unless there is something in there that caught your eye that has run, but we haven't picked up on.
Yeah,
Is there
Darren
one?
touched on
Which one?
coughing, coughing, coughing.
Yes, it worries you.
In the computer form, it should say Daryl Marie, Daryl Marie, Daryl Marie.
Oh, you're a bleeder. You're not a bleeder.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, but anyway.
Clyde, she was out of her ground last time out. She's stayed on in the latter stages. We saw fully automatics win from that form line, and on line through fully automatics, she should have the beating of Count Your Chances. But she just concerns me, this filly. Certainly hasn't produced what the stable has expected of her. For that reason only, I haven't backed her up. But on form, she's a penalty kick, Clyde. We saw Cosmic Star win from there.
Yeah.
Count Your Chances, Piers Stradom in the iron, super fit now. With that new yard, she's going to go well over here. She's on the other hand drawn on the opposite side of the straight, so they're wide apart. Watch the market with regards to number 11. Wait for the green light.
Any comments? Anything from the stable?
No comments.
No.
But the booking of SK must speak some volume.
That's a punting stable then.
The Dam won 6 races. I just suggest to the viewers, watch the market with regards to her chances. I'm not going to bank her, but I expect War Empress to win, but I'm not banking her. She's let me down in the past.
Ryan Munger's still here. He's meant to go to Canada soon, so I'm not sure when that
No,
departure.
he's still here next week.
Is he here next week?
Yeah,
Is he staying for Champions Day, or what's the story?
I don't know what the story is.
Okay, well, it's good. The longer he stays, the better, to be honest. But let's see what the story is. Here we go. We got our pick 6s that have been worked out for you from Darren himself. He's going banker 1. He's taking his chances. You heard Daryl Marie say on form this is a penalty kick, but one just doesn't. There is some uncertainty. However, we're taking our chances. Banker 1 by 135, by 1 and 3, by 145, 7, 8, 10, 11, by 2, 8 and 9, And the last leg, 3, 4, 6, and 7. Okay, race number 4, jackpots, and this is a handicap at the 96. It's over 1,000 metres. In this race, let me give you an update on the market Wednesday morning when we did the show, and Mover and Shaker tops the board. Priced up 17 to 10 to win the race. Samunga's riding that for Fabian. 1 Constable's the second choice, 22 to 10, and then Vegas High Rise is priced up at 3 to 1. That's number 5 on the card, and then after that, I think you can get 7 or 8 to 1 and better about the others. I'll start with Darren Burrows to start with your summary. I see the Constable form hasn't really worked out that last start anyway.
Yes, Constable, that was a below par performance. He's much better than that. If you go back to his penultimate start, he ran half a length off Anfield's Rocket in second. He just couldn't hold on. He's run off Big Burn, taken out. The apprentice allowance is going to help. A horse like Mover and Shaker, very speedy horse. Last time out, I think it was quite a strong race, and Mercantor came out to win again. So that form line's decent enough. I think Mover and Shaker I'm narrowly leaning towards over Constable, and I think Vegas High Rise isn't out of it.
Okay, so the 2 or 3 that you've mentioned there, your side?
Yeah, the same three, Clyde. Mover and Shaker concerns me a bit. Last time out, it was over 1,100, Clyde, but he was beaten before the 100-meter marker.
Was this the horse that opened up and went 10 lengths clear the first 200 metres?
Yeah,
Same horse.
I mean, he's got ability. I'm
I
not
think you
ruling
can
him
write
out.
that run off, don't you think, Daryl? I mean, surely that horse went far too fast, too early. So forgive him for that run. I remember calling the race now that you mentioned it. I thought it was that horse of Magnus. What's that horse that flies early?
Roll with the punches.
Roll with the punches, for one. In fact, they ran on the same day. But I think forgive him for that if you're worried about that.
Yeah.
Went too fast.
No, I'm not writing him off. Vegas High Rise, I think is a better sort when he's produced very late, Clyde.
Yes.
So I actually hope that Gavin is riding because he's a hold-up type of jockey, and he can get him to produce that finishing burst where it matters the most. Penultimate starts, he ran at level weights with Sheldon. That was a fair effort. We've seen Godswood Frankie's form line, so I'm certainly including him in all my bets. But Constable, if you just put it line 3, his later start, penultimate start in that handicap, Cantor 1-2 from there.
Yes.
Sheldon won indirectly. If he's at his best, I think Constable's the horse to beat you.
Got within a length of not even a length, half a length of Anfield's Rocket. So it may well be the horse. I just worries me a little bit when form lines don't work out too much, and that's my only reservation about it. But it's not a strong. When I say not a strong field, Constable may have the upper hand, ability-wise. But let's see what happens. Here it comes. This is what the boys want to do. It's a jackpot. Darren's going 1, 3, 5. Those are the 3 being spoken about. Second leg 1 and 3 in the jackpot. So the 2 of them, of course, have been Vitellius, and the other one, number 3, he's found Labecchio. Then he's going a lot of horses and 2, 8, 9 at the back. Have you been on our social media page yet? Please go do so. At Waiter to Win is our Twitter handle, or we're on WhatsApp group now. There's our number on screen for you that you can send your name and email address to, and we'll send you the information, etc. We're also on 4racing.tv, where you can get more information around training interviews and all that sort of stuff. And we're also on YouTube, so lots of places to be found. We're going to start with Daryl Marie because this is a novice handicap. It may be a tricky race. Daryl, at this point in time, if you don't know, Haslo Grande's 18 to 10 favourite, first choice. Vitalia's second choice, 2 to 1, so they're quite close in the market. And then Latuli, 28 to 10, third choice.
Yeah, Clyde, either Darren or myself are going to go out in this leg because he's put 2 horses in, I put 2 horses in, and we're on opposite sides of the
so
fence.
which 2 are you on?
I'm on 2 and 5, and he's gone for 1 and 3. Now, Haslo Grand, Clyde, I'll be the first to admit he beat a very poor field last time out. It was workmanlike, but you just have to see the son of Erupt to know that he does have scope for further improvement. I only believe we're going to see the best of him when he gets gelded, but he'll improve with racing, and he's going to win his races, Clyde. From what I saw, he's a very nice sort. But I'm leaning towards number 5, Lutulia. I just think the race is going to be run to suit. I think with him getting 6 kilograms from Haslo Grande, 52 kilograms, no pace in the race, he's going to get the run of the race. Very unlucky in his penultimate start where he was caught very wide. I make him a very hard horse to beat. So I'm going 5 from 2. Lebecho, the race wasn't run to suit last time out. I don't know if it's going to be run to suit this time round because there is no pace. And Vitellius, I've had a look at his breeding. The dam sprinted, all his siblings sprinted. I've got my doubts over the extended trip. So 5 from 2 in that order.
Trying the distance for the first time, Vitellius. So that's quite interesting that the guys are on different, on the opposite ends. And I see in particular that Muzieni now rides Latuli. See, under Sisiba rode it the last few times, if I recall correctly. All right, Mr. Burrows, are you on the other two?
Clyde, I did mark 1, 2, 3, and 5, and then I needed to cut it down, and I went numbers 1 and 3. Now, Vitellius, he is by Pomodoro. I get the impression he's going to love the step up to 1,800 meters. He was staying on very nicely behind Tizona. Now, Tizona brought Cape Town form into the race last time out, and I thought he was a penalty kick, and he won very comfortably. But this horse was doing his best work late. Lebeccio, a lot of ability, but he hasn't quite found his best form again. Last time out, the blinkers were fitted. He showed improvement, but that was over 2,400 meters. The drop back in trip's going to suit him. So I thought the value lies with Lebeccio. Vitellius is alive. And then Latuli, with only 52 kilos, can get into it. Haslo Grande, I think he's going to need a bit more time to mature because he didn't beat a strong field last time.
Yeah, but I think the more runs that comes his way, the better he's going to get. But interesting, you're on the other two. Daryl Marie's on 2 and 5 in this race, and he's jackpot. Make a note of that, by 1 and 8, by 2 and 6, by 3 and 7. If you'd like to include the other two from Darren Burrows, then of course that's entirely up to you by adding both 1 and 3 into the jackpot first leg. So 1, 2, 3, 5 if you'd like to add to Daryl Marie's pot. Handicap 68 level, 1,200 metres. Defender of Rights is top of the boards over here. Been in very good form, I have to tell you. Priced up favourite. What price is the last time? Wednesday, 15 to 10. Number 1 on the card. But Darren, nothing from the form has come and won. Again, I refer to the form line, not a winner.
Clyde, that Defender of Rights, if you go back in her form, she won her maiden over a mile. She placed in the Oaks trial over 2,000 metres. Then she disappointed a bit, so they brought her back to sprinting trips and she placed twice. But she's not a sprinter. And I see the market, I mean, she's a clear out-and-out favourite. And I thought it's much more open than that. You got a horse like Conquer the World. Her 2 runs on the Highveld have been good. She ran 4th to Escape Artist, who we saw to come out and win again her very next start. I thought that form line's good enough to feature strongly here. Of the rest, Mabaneng, I don't think the distance is going to be a problem. She drops back to 1,200. I think she could follow up. And Feather the Nest, returning after a bit of a break, can get involved.
Okay, well, Conquer the World, Escape Artist, who ran behind, came out and won again. Open race?
Yeah, I've narrowed it down to 2 runners. I see it differently. Clyde, Defender of Rights, I think she's cherry ripe to score another victory. Concern is the latest form line. 6 runners, all 6 unplaced. But she's got an obvious money chance. She is deserving of another victory. And Track and Trip, I think, is not going to be an issue. One of her better recent runs was over this course and distance. Clyde, have a look at After Hours. Now, I know that he's got his issues, but there is a lot in his favour. One not being the distance. I think he's a better 7 furlong horse. But he's got the pace. He's got the draw. Mescal won from that form line. And I think on his best form, he has to be a player. Just take note that Maboneng's been recently scratched.
Yeah. And because Ryan went there, didn't he?
Yeah.
He rode After Hours last time. So
yeah, I don't know, Clyde. I'll be happy to survive this leg of the exotics. So I'm certainly not having a punt.
I don't like a race. Okay. Mr. Marie, not sure, but perhaps Defender of Rights, despite the form line, is the right horse in the race. There are quite a few Darren Burrows made reference to, in particular Conquer the World. Will be good to see Roy Magna back in the winner's enclosure. And maybe After Hours, the JP van der Merwe could end up being a shrewdie in the pack. What price is After Hours now that you've mentioned that? It's 7-1 as we speak. Here's a look at what we're doing, guys. We've only got a few more races left, and it's a pick 3 from Daryl. He says let's go 1 and 8 in this leg, then 2 and 6 in the next. So Stratospheric, he makes Mojai of the Danger. And the last leg, 3 and 7. Who happens to be Mkabizi, and number 7 on the card is put in the play there as well, Eagle Alley. Welcome back, race number 7, Stratospheric, 17-10, impressive to date. Does appear to be the horse to beat. I'd be interested to hear what Darren makes of Stratospheric, and in the manner that this horse has been racing and winning is super impressive, I would have thought. Darren?
Very impressive, Clyde. On the high fault, he won his first start there by 9 1/4 lengths, beating Hasler Grande, who came out to win. He beat Crimson King. Crimson King was best weighted that day, but he is a better horse over further, so I wouldn't look into too much of that. He's having his peak run. I think he'll take a power of beating. Sequoia interests me. He was switched off nicely last time out, and he came with a powerful turn of foot to beat a horse like Meridius. I think he'll be competitive. Southern Blaze can get involved. And Mo Jive, I must say, he was very impressive on his comeback run. But I feel that the mile is stretching him, so I don't like him today.
Yeah, it's quite interesting, Mo Jive. Only one runner, one winner, happened to be Godswood, but I don't think good enough when you compare Stratospheric and the like to these horses, to be honest. And personally, I thought it was a one-horse race. And you, Mr. Murray?
Yeah, perhaps Vegas High Rise is also one from that Formula by now. We don't know.
Yeah.
Very encouraging return. Last time out, Mo Jive over a distance short of his best. Interesting that the stable's stepping up back over a mile. He hasn't quite performed over the mile in the past, but they obviously believe that he's more than capable over this trip, Clyde. So I'm not writing him off. I actually like Stratospheric over here. I thought the stable companion didn't do him any favors last time. Fur Baby, he was over racing behind. The only concern is he does take a tug, Clyde. So if he settles in running, he's certainly got more to offer. Like Darren touched on, the run-up was slung in at the weight on that occasion, but the stable companion who stayed on for third was hopelessly out at the weights. But he only got a 2 kilogram penalty, and it looks like he's now found his stride, and the penny's finally dropped, and I'm expecting him to score the hat-trick, Clyde. Just take note that stable companion's running on Saturday. Fur Baby can load up your betting accounts. Strictly on merit rating, she's a penalty kick.
Already,
yeah,
for Saturday. Okay.
So
you're not worried this horse has gone from an 80 to a 92 in its last 2 starts, Stratospheric? Doesn't matter. Huh?
No. He's
okay, good.
I'm
happy to hear that.
He's solid, Clyde. He's got substance about him. Just needs to relax in his races.
I wonder if this horse you can't hurry left, not run a place.
Sure.
I mean,
that
run to Electric Gold, it's not a bad run.
You tipping horse that hasn't won for 4 years
now.
I
know. I'm talking about places now, my friend.
Well,
I'd like to find a swinger horse.
You're more than welcome. Have a dip.
I'm only interested in Stratospheric, to be quite honest.
Okay. So why did you bring that up?
Just so we can take exactas and trifectas and get a bit of value. You're not going to get value with Stratospheric. I mean, at 17-10, we want to make money for the Easter weekend, right? So we've got to find ways to do so. This is what we're going to do then from a tipster's perspective. The guys are going the following. 2 and 8, Darren Burrows says Stratospheric is the one to beat, but there may well be a danger. Mike the Cockstable come back to form. Sequoia. So Napoleon's top of the boards for Tony Peter. They're 3-1 favourite. Number 7, Eagle Alley, second choice. Well, joint favourite I see now at 3-1. And number 1, Bob's Your Uncle. Impressive last time out at 5-1. And I see they put Craig Zaki on Bob's Your Uncle now. 6-1 about the 3, Mkapizi. And 6-1 or 8-1 about number 6, Follow Your Path. 10-1, 12-1, better about the others. So Napoleon, let's start with you, Darren. Let's talk about Napoleon. Be on the Vaal Classic, hasn't been on this track before, only on the Turfington Inside track. But I thought based on that last start, we saw Romeo's Magic come out of there and win from Bloomington. So that must help us from a confidence perspective.
Clyde, I do like this horse. I know his Cape Town formed pretty well, and he didn't do badly here. He was beaten a length and a half by Inamorare, taking off at the finish. Last time out, he moved up very strongly, and the last 100 meters he found nothing, and he held on for third. I think he'll run a big race because I think he's acclimatized now. He's having his peak run on the high fault. Eagle Alley. Now, I had a lot of money on him last time. I thought he would have won that race, but he was the most unluckiest of losers. He came from a hopeless position and he took off. Another stride he gets up to beat his stable companion. So I'm hoping that he jumps on terms and he's not sluggish away, because I don't want to find him at the back of the field once again. Of the rest, Msabisi and Follow My Path can get into it.
Yeah. So you're right about Eagle Alley. Was very unlucky last time. What sort of respect do you have for that compared to the likes of Napoleon?
Yeah, we all commented after that run on the Weighted to Win WhatsApp group that he should have won, Clyde. He's off a very competitive rating. Just needs some luck in running, and I certainly believe he's a good few pounds ahead of his current mark of 61. So I'm going to say he's the horse to beat. Keegan de Melo gave the winner a peach of a ride on that occasion, Maboneng. Mtrabisi, Clyde, later start caught my eye. He was staying on towards the middle of the track. He's now in his peak run. He's down to 67. I really think the stable's going to start turning now, Clyde. I think we can start following the Speciard. So I'm going 7 from 3. I've got respect for Napoleon, but he's only my third pick.
Yeah, he's only been around just his third run for the stable, and he's only your third pick, as you say. Eagle Alley, I'm just watching the replay now, very unlucky. Although there were 4 across the track, there was a length separating 4 horses on a race like that, but it's interesting. So let me just remind you once again, if I may, that the betting has got Napoleon as favourite and Eagle Alley as favourite. So they're joint, the 4 and the 7 here. Maybe Bob's your uncle can win again. Who knows? One of those races. The tipsters have the following to recommend. Here we go. It comes from both, and they're suggesting that it should be 3 Mkhibizi, the 4 Napoleon, and the 7 Eagle Alley.